Al, I'm going to tell you something about this episode. How it
Oh?
reminded me of different media.
No?
This whole episode, I was like, man, there's a character in Naruto who does just basically just does this.
Oh no. Oh no.
That's all I thought about this episode. There you go. Hello, welcome to this week's episode. Jared now watch Inuyasha. It is episode number 17. I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
And we are discussing episode 17 called The Cursed Ink of the Hell Painter.
What a title.
It's a really good title,
It is a really good title.
truly. So we begin this episode, and there's a dude just running from people, as you do. He's got a bunch of scrolls. He's like, "Rawr." And then a bunch of demons appear, and all the men get
Did.
deaded. Yeah, there you go. The following day, Inuyasha and crew show up and are like, "Oh, it's a battlefield." And I think Kagome makes a comment of like, "Oh, another battlefield full of dead people in the Warring States era."
That delivery was hilarious. She's like, oh, another one.
Another one. She's like nonplussed about this. Meanwhile, Inuyasha's like, "This is weird. I don't smell blood. Why would there be a bunch of bodies around, but there's no blood? That's real weird. I don't get this."
I am concerned. I shall sniff.
Mm-hmm. Moroku's like, "Maybe it was a demon who has a shard of the jewel." And Inuyasha's like, off.
Basically, yeah. And he's like, okay, goodbye.
It was funny because like the last episode, like, "Oh, we should team up," and then this immediately this episode, he's like, "Get out of here."
Well, and then Kagome gets upset at him and is like, oh man, you shouldn't have done that. He was gonna help us. And he was just like, well, what do you like him? She's
Pick
like,
up that
yeah.
Maxwell.
She's like, yeah, I do like him. He's like, what? How could you like him? It just
She was like, "It was a joke," but he's
Yeah.
like already like 10 feet away from her. Like, "How does she like someone like him?" And he's like, "Oh God,
And she's like, hey, can't you pay attention for
he's
3 seconds?
stupid." It's true. And then Inuyasha goes and like sniffs a dude's scroll and is like, "I smell ink. I keep smelling ink here. It's real weird." And
He's
they're
just
like,
harassing all the peasants.
and Kagome and Shipper is like, "Stop harassing people. Stop that."
How do all the peasants know how to write?
Look, there's a lot of inconsistencies in this show.
Okay, fair.
A lot. We see the dude with the scrolls again. His name is Kotatsu because he's gonna warm you up.
Oh, I love Kotatsu ideas. I want one of those.
He's speaking to a lord and is like, "Oh, I defeated all the army, all that army by myself. I heard you're having trouble with them, so I thought I would do something nice for you." And the lord's like, "Oh yes, you should join our military and everything." And then some guy comes up and like, and he's like, "Get out of here!"
And then they
But
bonk him a lot.
yeah, his guards just like beat him up, and they're like, "You're just an artist. You can't be a military guy." It's like, that's not necessarily a 1-to-1 correlation. And then like the princess walks by like, "Hey, stop bonking him." And they're like, "Okay." And then she leaves like, "We're gonna keep bonking you." And then
Bonk,
they
bonk,
just
bonk, bonk,
they
bonk.
throw him into like a basket and chuck him into the river.
They're like, hope you can swim.
Yeet.
Woo.
Kotatsu's like, "I want revenge on them." Ha ha ha. And then he's getting out of the river, and Inuyasha's like, "Hey buddy, I got some questions for you. You smell of ink, also of blood. What's up with that?" And Kotatsu's like, gotta go. Here's the demon for you."
Wee.
He throws out a scroll, a demon appears, and Inuyasha's like, "That's weird." And Inuyasha cuts it in half, and then he gets bonked, or not really bonked, but he gets showered with blood and black ink, and that makes him go.
He gets the at symbolized.
He gets the swirly glasses eyes.
Yeah, the smell is too much for him to
Too
deal with.
much. Moroku tries to go to the same temple that Kotatsu went to earlier, and is like, "Hey, there's an evil shadow over the temple. You should let me exercise." And the guard's like, "No, there isn't. Get out of here." And Moroku's like, "Wow, I guess I'm gonna go sleep in the woods tonight." And then immediately as he's leaving, like there's a big cloud comes past him. He's like, oh, I guess I was right. And then, like, the guards are like, whoa, that guy was real dumb and everything. And he, like, looks around and he's like, whoa. And they're like, you just hear, like, there's a bunch of explosions and stuff happening. And someone's like, save the princess. And Moroku's like, oh, I guess I should leap into action now.
I'm coming back. That was
He-
really funny, actually.
He, like, jumps in front of the princess, and then, like, the demons just, like, like dissipate, like, go backwards. He's like, that's weird. I guess I saved the day.
Woo!
The Lord there's like, oh, thank you, Miroku, for saving the princess and everything. I'm sorry for the rudeness of everyone.
Gives him lots of snacks.
And he's like, that's fine. But, you know, it would pretty much, it would help if, you know, if I want to protect the princess, she stayed in the room with me and stayed in a bed with me and all this sort of stuff. And Inuyasha's like, yeah, you would say that, you pervert.
You pervert.
You see Kagome ride in, and he's just standing on, like, the back wheel.
Yep.
Just like, And then they have a little powwow and talk about how, like, oh, they're ink demons and stuff. Let's strategize here and figure out what's going on. Except Inuyasha wants to sit away from them and be like, I don't want to strategize with you.
Wee.
And then Kagome's like, hey, Moroku, you have 3 shards in your shoulder. And he's like, oh, I guess, yeah, I do. Interesting that you can see that. Okay. The guards are like eavesdropping, and they rush back to the door like, yo, have you heard about the Shikon Jewel thing? If we get one of those, we could become very powerful and everything. Everything would be okay. Let's kill this guy and take his jewels and everything. So, like, they try and jump into Moroku's room and, like, stab him, like, heh. But, like, Moroku is, like, hiding behind the bed. And they exclaim, like, oh, you tricked us. As if they weren't trying to do the same thing.
Yep.
And then he just, like, wraps his stick around them and chokes him out. And then Inuyasha runs in and is like, oh, hey, good job. All right, let's go.
I love how upset they were. Like,
Yes.
they were just so offended that they didn't stab him and that he was like, wow, dudes tried to murder me. Not cool.
So they go off to try and find the artist again, and Moroku's like, Kagome, lend me your contraption. And
Your
just rides off.
contraption!
Rides off on the bike, and Inuyasha's like, all right, we should go after him. So he just picks everyone up and just runs.
Yep.
They go to this field where the Lord is trying to fight the artist, but the artist is like, here's a bunch of demons, and they're going to kill everyone. So Inuyasha and Moroku have to come in and try and save the day and everything. And then Moroku uses the wind tunnel.
The wind tunnel.
Sucks up a bunch of demons, and he's like, oh, man, that was a lot. I got to... Time out. I need a breather. I
was telling you, like, in this episode, the wind tunnel is really, really over till it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, at this point, like, yeah, he has to take a break because he's never sucked up that much evil before. But I didn't realize it was literally the next episode where they make the wind tunnel basically useless.
They're like,
I
here's
knew
two
it- I knew
cool
it was
instances of it.
coming.
Here's 2 cool instances of it being, like, pretty OP, and then immediately they're like, forget about that.
Like, I knew it was coming, and that's why I mentioned it to you. I did not remember it was the very next episode, but, like, the wind tunnel is a very, very OP move. He could just, like, send you off to, like, the shadow realm if he wants to, basically.
Time to duel.
Basically, yeah. And and then, you know, he either gets too tired or bees.
Not the bees.
Bees!
Kotatsu brings out a big demon. It's like a big serpent, and Yasha's like, hey, Kagome, where's the jewel at? And she's like, it's in his ink pot. So he's like, all right, I'll go get that. He runs up it and slices it off of the artist, and then slices the ink pot in half, which causes the serpent to be like, so he's like, okay, yeah, we did it. And then Kotatsu's like, let me stab myself in the forearm and let the ink just take some of my blood. This will be fine. Oh no, I am being drained of my blood. I'm dead.
Also, there was the, like, one benefit of him wearing the fire rat robe.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, dude tried to set him on fire. He's like,
He's like, I'm fine. No worries.
I've got fire rat robe, my dude. You
Mhm.
can't set me on fire. Also, I'm just gonna, like, use this fire against you. Anyway, now you're dead.
It's true. The shard of the jewel, like, bubbles up from the ink, and Moroku's like, oh, I don't really want that. It's got evil.
Tainted.
Gross. And Kagumi's like, all right, which one do you want it? And they're like, and then Kagumi just like picks it up and is like, hey, who wants it? Who wants it? And Moroku's like, maybe you should just have it. And Kagumi's like, okay, cool.
Happily.
And then Moroku again agrees to join them on the journey. He's like, that Inuyasha's not that bad. He's fine. And Kagumi's like, yeah, he's all right. Maybe one day I'll tell him he's all right.
That was so funny. He's not a bad fellow. He's all right.
He's all right.
Good job, kid.
Oh, let's talk about some notes and differences.
Okay.
While running into the castle to save the princess, Moroku was horny. That's actually not what it says. It says Moroku was still polite enough to take his shoes off before rushing to her aid.
I mean, he does wear like sandals, so it wouldn't be that hard.
He's very polite.
Good boy.
This episode features one of the very few instances that a sacred jewel shard is collected from a human.
Ah.
This episode features an example of just how dangerous and uncontrollable demonic objects can be when wielded by humans, especially those who are unaware of the dangers, an oft touched upon topic in the series. Kotatsu unintentionally activates the ink in his sleep and nearly kills the object of his affections in the process. Kotatsu's own greed, hatred, and bitterness, they forgot Oxford comma there, taints the jewel shard to such an extent that Moroku wouldn't even risk touching it, and Kotatsu is driven mad by the tainted shard and winds up sacrificing himself to his own creations in the mistaken belief that he's actually in control of them.
Rip.
The sheer power of the...
Wind tunnel.
Okay, thank you. The wind tunnel is established in this episode when Moroku sucks up Kotatsu's entire legion of his ink demons. His resulting exhaustion from the endeavor also establishes its limits.
Well, that and bees eventually.
Yeah. Kagome notes that Moroku has 3 Shikon jewels, shards. It says 2 in the weasel.
Yeah, so he had 2 before, and then he got 1 from the weasel.
And then Kagome recovers Kotatsu's shard.
We knew that, but
Yep,
sure,
there you
thanks,
go.
notes.
Differences from the manga. In the anime, the opening has Kotatsu being chased by a group of bandits after the Shikon shard he possesses. The entire scene of Kotatsu being accosted by guards is different between the two mediums. In the manga, he is attacked for trying to take a peek at the princess in the middle of a crowded road, a scene Moroku witnesses. In the anime, Moroku doesn't witness this, and the painter is thrown out of the castle for lying about defeating an army of men.
Except for he didn't really lie about that.
Yeah. Because Moroku never saw the princess himself, him arriving at the castle is purely random in the anime.
Well, he did hear princess.
He basically just wanted to go there to stay, to have a place to sleep.
He didn't want to sleep in the dark in the woods.
Kotatsu's nightmare of the princess stealing his blood is anime only. In the manga, he is constantly unable to draw the princess's eyes without making them look like a demon's, which is why he sends an army of demons to her room every night. The Lord ordering his men to kill Moroku to steal the Shikon shards and then leading a small army to steal Kotatsu's Shikon shard only happens in the anime. Instead, the Lord is merely worried about his sick daughter. Because of this, the princess's role in the anime is greatly reduced, and Inuyasha's group's plan to find the painter is never executed. Kotatsu's backstory is never mentioned in the anime, and the final fight with Kotatsu plays out differently in the anime. There you go. Next time, we'll be discussing Season 1, Episode number 18, called Naraku and Sesshomaru Joined Forces.
Da da da.
As you have graciously titled this next, 8 or 9 episodes as the plot block.
The plot block. We've got a lot of plot headed.
We've got a lot of plot finally. And we got a brother and a villain to team up, quote unquote. Kind of. They just kind of meet and are like, hey, you want to do something? All right, cool.
Hey,
that's basically
you
it.
Also don't like Inuyasha? I don't like Inuyasha. Why don't we make
Did
an
we just
alliance?
become best friends?
Basically, yeah.
So we'll talk about that episode next time. But for more, if you want more from us, head on over to seasonlanguagecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Season Language Checkup OVA. And you can find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you want more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. You can buy our books, One Shining Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So next time, join us as a certain brother makes his return.
The return of the brother.